Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into a powerful sermon from way back in the 17th century. It's by a preacher named Thomas Watson, and he's tackling a virtue that might feel a little forgotten, but it's more relevant now than ever. That virtue is mercy. So Watson kicks things off with a real gut punch. He basically says, I'm preaching about mercy because I live in unmerciful times. And you gotta stop and think, right? If he thought his world was unmerciful 400 years ago, what on earth would he think about ours? Okay, so the entire sermon is built around this one single verse. It's from what's called the Beatitudes in the Sermon on the Mount. And it's this simple but really profound paradox. Blessed are the merciful, for they shall obtain mercy. Get it? If you give mercy, you get mercy. That's the idea we're gonna keep coming back to. And just to show you how serious this is, Watson doesn't mess around. He puts that beautiful blessing right next to a terrifying curse from Psalm 109. He describes it as this flood of plagues hanging over the head of anyone who's unmerciful. So for him, this isn't some fluffy, feel-good idea. No, this is life and death stuff, spiritually speaking. So that leads to the obvious question, right? What exactly is this mercy that has such huge consequences? Watson knew he had to nail down a definition before getting into the how-to. And here's his definition. It's basically empathy plus action. It's not enough to just feel sorry for someone. He calls it a tender disposition, where you really truly lay to heart what someone else is going through. But, and this is key, it's also about being ready on all occasions to actually do something to help. Now, this is a really interesting point. Watson draws a sharp line between mercy and love. Think of it like this. Love is your friend who comes to hang out when you're feeling great. Mercy is the doctor who shows up when you're sick. Mercy is specifically for people who are hurting or in trouble. It's about lending a hand, not just offering your heart. Okay, so if this act of empathy is so vital, where does it come from? I mean, are we just born with it? Is it just part of our human nature? Watson's answer is a hard no. He says true mercy is not natural at all. He says its source, or its fountainhead, comes from something much higher. It comes from what he calls a work of grace in the heart. Now, that's a theological idea, but basically it means it's a divine gift, something that changes us from the inside out. It's not something we have, it's something we're given. And to describe what we're like without that grace, Watson doesn't hold back. He uses these really vivid images. He says by nature, we're like a hard stone, a thorn bush, a wolf, a lion. And if that's not bad enough, he says on top of our own inbred unmercifulness, there's an extra layer added by what he calls Satan. So if mercy is this gift that we receive, what do we do with it? How does it actually work in real life? Well, this is where Watson gets super practical. He lays out this framework he calls the 5 streams of mercy to show how it can literally flow into every single part of our lives. And here they are. This is his big picture for what a merciful life looks like. And you'll see it's way more than just giving money to charity. It's about mercy for someone's soul. We're talking spiritual help, mercy for their name, their reputation, mercy for their possessions, like with debts, mercy for the offenses they've committed against you, forgiveness, and then finally, yes, mercy for their physical needs. It's the whole shebang. Let's just zoom in on one of these for a second because it's so powerful. Mercy to names. Watson says a good name is one of the greatest blessings you can have, better than a string of pearls. I mean, how incredibly relevant is that today in our world of social media, cancel culture, and online shaming? So, how are we unmerciful to names? Watson breaks it down. Slandering people, spreading rumors, downplaying their achievements, standing by and doing nothing when someone is being unfairly attacked, or straight up lying about them. Seriously, think about that. In a world of instant retweets and digital pylons, these warnings from 4 centuries ago hit harder than ever. The big takeaway is that mercy isn't passive. It means you have to actively defend someone's good name. And then he just drops this bombshell. He says to slander is to act the part of a devil. And he explains that the actual Greek word for devil means slanderer. So when you tear down someone's reputation with lies, you are literally, in his view, doing the devil's work. Wow. That'll make you think twice before you share that juicy rumor, right? Okay, so it's not just about what you do, but how you do it. Watson says the way we show mercy is just as important as the act itself. He even calls it the art of giving and lays out 3 golden rules. Rule number 1, give freely. I love the image he uses here. He says charity should flow like spring water. natural, willing, cheerful, not forced or done grudgingly. If you're complaining while you're giving, he says, that's not real charity. Number 2, give humbly. Watson has this great phrase for pride. He calls it the dead fly in the box of ointment. It just ruins the whole thing. The goal isn't to get applause or a bunch of likes. He brings up Moses, who literally put a veil over his face when it was shining with glory. That's the idea. True mercy doesn't need the spotlight. And rule number 3, give wisely. This is so important. It's not about just throwing money or help around without thinking. It's about being smart with your compassion, guiding your affairs with discretion, as he says, finding the right person who truly needs it at the right time, and helping in a way that actually helps. So we've talked about what mercy is, we've talked about how to do it. Now Watson circles back to the very beginning, to the second half of that verse. He gets to the reward. This is the big why, the motivation behind it all. So after all this pretty radical call to feel what others feel, to defend their reputations, to give with no strings attached, what's the payoff? What's the ultimate promise for being merciful? And the answer is just beautifully simple. It takes us right back to the beginning. The reward is, for they shall obtain mercy. That's it. The reward for giving mercy is getting it back. It's his perfect divine symmetry. But listen, Watson is clear that this isn't just some promise for the sweet by and by. Nope. He says there are real, tangible blessings for the merciful right here, right now. You'll be blessed in your person, blessed in your name, blessed in your finances, blessed in your kids and grandkids, and maybe even blessed with a long life. And this really gets to the core logic of the whole thing. What you give away in mercy isn't gone, it's invested. Watson quotes the book of Proverbs here, which says that when you help the poor, you are literally lending to the Lord. And God promises to pay you back. I mean, you can't get a more secure investment than that, right? Let's leave it with this final, amazing thought. It's actually from Augustine, but Watson quotes it in his sermon. It completely flips our whole idea of what's valuable. Here it is. Give those things to the poor that you cannot keep, so that you may receive those things that you cannot lose. Give away what's temporary to gain what's eternal. What a powerful idea from a 400-year-old sermon to chew on today.